Hey y'all, this is the final book, third book in the series of We Don't Need Any More Evidence. This last series is named Many Gratitudes. The thank you pages. First, let me give much, many, and the loudest thanks to the Most High. Without them, we wouldn't even have the air in our lungs, the ability in our limbs, or the function of our mind and soul to write this. Next, family. And if you know me, that's family and friends. Family is everything to us. Thank you to our dad for making the promise long before we existed to some, to learn and be a loving father and be there for his kids, because he knows what the impact is living in a single parent household. Thank you to our mom for making every event of ours and being filled with so much love and presence. It grew us to be such a loving woman herself. Thank you to our aunties and Kama for teaching us, in addition to Mom, what womanhood is, what strong womanhood looks like. And let's not forget sugar. Thank you to Godma and Dad for teaching us our history as Black peoples and for being what any Southern Black approved textbook wouldn't dare teach. Thank you, Nino. Though we had our fucked up ways, definitely. The toxicity we're blessed to be better for. Thank you for healing, God. Thank you, Nino, because you made us fight to be us again, in a sense. And thank you, God, who created love in their image, for filling all current and future wounds in the name of repentance and forgiveness and grace. Thank you to the Sham fam, royalty, redemption, all our loves. We met at the tech company of our dreams and in the West End. And of course, my extended neighbor and family in the Southland. Y'all all grew about and helped raise us, even if you didn't know. Thank you. Because who knows where we'd be if we never knew what love is, what true love is, especially when it comes at just the right time and restores the foundation under your feet and security around your shoulders. Thank you, ancestors, for we truly are lifted and elevated on your shoulders. Enjoy some of the things that melds in our God-given mind. Thank you so much, Oshun, Mama Wata, Waya, Anais, and Tuti, for all you have restored us to. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're about to celebrate ourselves for the trip to the water. Love divine, i.e. Mookie, Sweet Pea, Pop-Tart, Beth, Mary Beth, Lil Mary, Ladybug, and all the other lovely nicknames.
All names of celebrity people mentioned did not prepare, approve, or endorse / authorize this book. Their artwork is just inspiring in general. 'Tis all. No disrespect or infringement intended. Copyright 2021 by the Anons Productions, LLC. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photocopying, recording of other electronic or mechanical methods, without the prior written permission of the publisher, except in the case of brief annotations embodied in critical reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. This is in accordance with the U.S. Copyright Law of 1976. Thank you for your support of the author's rights. For permission of publication requests, write to the Anons Productions, LLC, i.e.
The Anons Productions @gmail.com.
with the subject of, quote, attention, permission coordinator WDNAME, end quote, at the address above. First edition, February 2021. The publisher is not responsible for websites or their content that are not owned by the publisher. Printed in the United States of America. First distribution, 2021. First printing, to be determined. Thank you.
The condition of the diasporic individual in America. Love. Love is a principle in which we place our truth. When we love something, we believe it. The government, Santa, our parents, our history. Yet, what if there is no love? Then what does the soul have left to hold on to? And when does the heart become so closed to the opportunity of life that is life, because it is so guarded, is jaded? When is an individual just surviving, just fighting and holding on to scraps? That's what the black woman in America is left with, and the black man, and in a freed sense, for the free motherfuckers, the non-binary folk that are black. These white people really can't tell us shit right now. They know they fucked up and there's proof. So, when do you get to the point that you realize you cannot be swayed from excursions from the outside? You must follow your intuition within. Self-care. Yet, in between maintaining her feminine guile, her figure and her mind and her social life and her love life and family life and all of the
non-positive things that randomly implode in the feminine space. Does she have time for the bullshit? I.e., why would the breath of motion to acknowledge anything beneath the standard of living that is desired? Boundaries. To be a black woman without boundaries is to be on a suicide mission. Try us. Side note. Nice girls. Wrap that shit up, but be kind to yourself. Choose what's best for you. There is good in saying no. With love. Only so long until shit hits, and it normally hits hard. And also the black man having to battle that power alpha masculinity that is seen between media, family, life, and expectations within relationships, and even with strangers. And just themselves as humans, people, not just caricatures of ideas of black manhood. And also in your God sense. And what about images of gods and goddesses? Don't even trip, don't even do that. And what about images of blackness that doesn't fit for the fine-tuned, quote, mold, unquote? The punks, the goths, the cosplayers, to the LGBTQIA plus family, and anyone non-cis and non-heterosexual. Who teaches them to love? Who teaches them how to know the fine love languages, the 5 love languages? And that's the trash can that's getting thrown at their head is because she, the woman who once was someone so full of love, has now developed into a fine, tightly wound, looks like a brief, but is actually a basket case woman who, bless her, who was undiagnosed, yet no one, quote, talks about it. See, quote, black people don't like hospitals, end quote. Do you know why black people are not the most keen on hospitals? Because there were night doctors snatching black children, men and women, and using their bodies for cadavers. For the love of science, our ass, okay? The audacity to snatch a person in the night, sometimes even in broad day. And do you know why black people may not be too keen on the occurrence of nighttime sometimes? Because the boogeyman does exist. And if you know the history of it, it's something to research. He also looks like lynch mobs, Confederate patches on trucks, white hoods, Tech 9s, police sirens, tanks, red dogs, helicopters, and even silence. Bless. It's a wonder we've survived and even began to thrive and have thrived multiple times this long.
it's time to start thriving more. Yet, first we must address our baggage. Our thorns, our diets. We are sometimes not eating to our health, yet the full truth on the reality must be shed. See, most of us are living in food deserts, and if we're not in food deserts, we're surrounded by fast fried food as far as the eye can see sometimes. Like, yeah, we hear you on the vegetables, yet the Food Depot in our area doesn't grant us with the juiciest looking produce, and Target's too bougie for the ghettos. Yeah, we got our food markets though, yet we just gotta stay there. Yet, alas, eat well, exercise at least 30 minutes, and sleep at least 8 hours, right? And yoga for sometimes in the rise of day. Gotcha. Yeah, wait. When you're taking care of your mother who was taking care of her father who had been on dialysis since he was 40 because his colon's so backed up with the you already know what, because all the unhealthy parts of our soul food. And other cultures do have it too. No shame. That good old plate of heaven on a plate. Why do we need soul food? First of all, food that is good is a testament to a celebration of life. Eat like a king, right? And since when is a king not to celebrate life when he can, or she can, or they can? Yet, that's when the food is life. Literally, like veggies seasoned so beautifully that your toes just tingle. Not just wheatgrass. Side note, if you love your wheatgrass, bless yourself, honey. Love your community. Mwah, okay? Yet, who teaches that to the people? Who knows, have known, and has done nothing yet, learn about how to live off scraps, off food, off land, off right, off faith, off respect. Who's teaching that in our areas of good guidance that is not gunned down and burned without a sound and swept under the rug publicly, and then whose murder case is left unsolved and sometimes even unsung? Bless all our ancestors. Bless, bless. When does one have to think of breathing with mantra smoothly for even a few moments when they forget a turn signal or reaches in one's pocket to retrieve the identification that was specifically asked for by said officer who has now shot yet another black person, undeserving, in the battle of dominance, heightened by fear. Bless. that is a police member who may or may not be internalized that, quote, black equals danger and unpredictable being, animal even, end quote, of a man, woman, or child. That is mass broadcast via record companies who are soliciting rap from men, women, young boys, girls, and folks just to gain for themselves. In all of this, black people, are we remembering to take care of home? Finally start taking care of self continuously. Discover that thing that all these folk with seemingly too much time on their hands call love. Where is the piece of nirvana for the black individual who has to play the role of blackness that is not necessarily them, yet simply because to, quote, play by the rules, end quote, and be compliant. Yet this very image leads to the destruction of trust between black people and most of the policed, polite, or societally acceptable rest of the world. And what of what is portrayed as the quote-unquote thug? There are plenty of those who live in the areas that are associated with what is portrayed to us as the quote-unquote thug, who love cooking and ballet and football and track and piano and drawing and singing and meditating and anime watching and master chefing, because the quote-unquote thug is portrayed as a character, more so an inanely flattened caricature of the reality that living in the created poverty would not be privy to, i.e., in the ghettos. Insert every synonym of a similar environment here. The ghetto is an intentionally poorly maintained housing area where the only thing available to those who are living below a certain specified line. Side note, because of a lack of investment and advancement opportunities due to undersourced education and job prospects in the area, as well as resources to understand all the wealth that is miles and minutes down the street, thanks to gentrification. This line is a glass ceiling under which houses the destroyed homes that were split to be protected by governmental aid that barely keeps the insects from eating dinner with them. And that is the safety net. You can still survive, yet the home has to be split, and the more kids you have, the more money you get if you want to receive the aid abundantly from the government. And get the picture. Where is the teacher teaching the youth about the importance of self in the neighborhood that is drowning, perhaps under the height of pollution, access to water, food, and love like most people. We need that. Yet, also is threatened just as much, if not more, by other factors, like some overzealous gang members who really may be doing the most because there's an inner child that's seeking love and respect. There may be stray bullets, and there may be gunfights, and more police sirens, it seems. So, and what about the jealous, barely balanced who got sights on you? Always still remember the Hakuna Matata when the world and environments we live in look like they're adversaries. And you wonder why weed is a staple to culture, sex, enjoyment of each other, mouth tingling, succulent food, beautiful nutrition, brass music, bass music, percussion, dance music. Because we have survived and continue to learn to thrive in this shit every day. And those who still got it in us will be fucked the fuck up if we choose to avoid to live. Quote, live before we die, end quote. Also known as ... did it ... dash. Thank you, Gil Scott Aaron. First, the definition of the phrase must or should be explained to ensure we're all on the same page here. See, ... did it ... dash may be translated to some as darned if you do, darned if you don't. The people who have taken it upon themselves to be the de facto ruler of our, or those similar skin tone as ours, existence seem to hate us if we excel, and they seem to hate us if we fail. So, we just gonna pop our shit and live. Or it's the ideal that what's portrayed to us is that we can be assumed as worthless ever if we study the material 20 times more that is of our history, of our wealth of abundance and identity and knowledge and capability through our beliefs. Then he, she, and they, we all can avoid feeling futile and small. And it is draining. Yet, hey, to some, it's just another day, right? Are we healing in the stories that we continually tell about ourselves? We are all very capable of our dreams. See, every occurrence that leads to an action or a thought is based on an intention, either rooted in lack or in love. Every expression, from emotion to neurodivergent-induced behavior, is based on that attention, conscious or subconscious. And the Black individual has been through so much discrimination and wrongdoing in the recent centuries and decades that should it be surprising that we're dying sooner and sooner and our health is failing even quicker? Side note, and remember, there is a rise of sickness and death that has many, many times been seen and researched to be caused due to the stresses of institutional racism and more that is in our health practices and in many more places in our environments, like schools, and the list can go on. So yeah, if we do with this cardiovascular disease and as much stress as there is, and as much as we can learn more about how well we can eat, and perhaps it's more exercise that's needed, and that we should acknowledge the spiritual, for it is determinate in relation to how balanced or unbalanced, how peaceful or of inner turmoil that we are, that our bodies are. And all of this can be responsible for shutting our bodies down even while we're still alive. The stress manifested in our body can go by many things. Strokes related, heart attacks related, cancers, polyps, hemorrhoids, thyroids. Insert your lifestyle related illness, yet, perhaps no one is teaching us in a reliable and attainable to us lifestyle that clicks. Yet medicines whose side effects and combinations that can spur rather badly into body ailments to suffer in addiction. Here. See, self-care begins with healing our self-sufficiency. For the soul who have been fed scraps, whether of nutrition, of life, of belief, of experiences, and in the fight to aid and improve self, may be human and make mistakes, some even life-altering and life-affecting, in the quest to regain a sense of becoming, belonging, and peace, worthiness, if you will. See, the case for Black reparations is for those who are in love with, entertained by, partnered with, and healthily obsessed, if possible, with our natural way of style, elegance, and flair. For those same who are loved are people who are gunned down, ghouled, hung, stolen, beaten, and hosed down. The case of Black reparations is for those who felt the pain in giving your love to a land that has made little to no space for you. Yet now you can petition to remind those who needed to say a way of livelihood is agreeable to them to hear us out. And then they remind you that that love, that openness, is not returned in like. Perhaps some other ethnicities that may not claim the name Black also know this feeling, where as some part or all of you are family and native to another land and knows it, therefore sees another option than choosing to search to align with an agreeable identity to the main, proverbial main, yet choose to think and act in the image of success. Is this knowledge of divinity and achieving one's highest self also accessible to the individual that is in foster care and may only know her lineage as far back as her grandmother? What we're referring to is the knowledge gap. Where does she learn to ground? Where does she learn to belong? The act of giving our best to be met with scraps in some cases. An acknowledgement, if that, in return, is the story repeated the most of the Black mother, the Black woman, the Black man, the Black youth. What continues to go so horribly wrong that we seem to be surrounded by suffering daily? When will the sense of home stay? Perhaps the answer is also within relation to the problem. Who's going to fix it better than us? Yeah, when is every man, woman, non-binary folks, when are we going to recognize as adult or as child that we are truly protected from the mob, the hive mind that is angered, indignated by the suppressed guilt that feels the descendants of those who routinely chose to oppress us? When will we continue to feel protected, safe, while educating ourselves to be self-determinate in different realms of knowledge? When will we feel safe from being shot over being, quote, mistaken for suspect, end quote, or for being the smartest person in the room, more powerful than someone else, more pivotal? Where do we go where the rest of Europe and some of East and South Asia have treated us the same as some in the areas we call home? And what of us and them when the tongue may be lost or broken, where the mind is different, where the blood is so blended by the lust of those who are colonized, or genes just deciding to mutate sometimes, just so the physical connections seem to externally be the sole key? Then what? The same police brutality exists over there too. The same bloated and
misguided, sometimes governments, and the same pigeonholed view of culturally accepted expression. Where is there to turn when both cheeks already have been bruised? How many times will we remember and be reminded of that the suffering can be adapted, handled, digested, and divinely metamorphosized into something beautiful, something similar or exactly like a diamond? So yeah, there are many thorns like homelessness and societally restrictive views on sexuality, disdain held in religions that are written to focus on love, a sense of trust and community, and so much more. Yet this must draw to a close. This is a portion in explaining the whole story. This is a portion in explaining our whole story. This is a physical writing, if you will, a way to make sense of our current struggle and just how we got here. And perhaps how to help us get out of our proverbial quicksands, especially in the Black and brown communities. Thank you. It's our belief that the case for Black reparations is solvable. A solution that can include a community center that offers resources to those near in pursuit of their dreams, whether via education or any other resource, in the awareness of it and how to apply it in the achievement of their best selves. In addition to such, a community garden where there will be access to the knowledge and the fruits and vegetables themselves that are used in addition to herbs to cure all of our illnesses. So many of our illnesses. And also within that community garden, an area where there's room to commune and have those dance-a-thons and neighborhood parties so that those in the neighborhood can know each other again. And our sense of community can continue to be. There are more to be announced in the future to come, so we hope you stay tuned and always walk in your blessing and stay ever so blessed. Love, divinenurux. Thank you. Stay blessed, divinenurux.